While Victoria sat through another weekend of lockdown, our Prime Minister was living it up at the footy. But is that a bad thing? Some on Twitter are saying it was in poor form for the PM to be enjoying himself while the country's second largest city was in lockdown. But others are saying it's a good thing that he was out and about supporting his team and the community. Ben, what do you think? Should the Prime Minister be leading by example, even though he's not in the affected area?
Look, I'm really split down the middle on this, and I think the representation from Scott Morrison at the start of the year was a disappointment when he was in Hawaii during the bushfires. I think that was a definite sign of misleadership, of bad leadership for the country. However, I have come a long way since that journey with Scott Morrison. I think he's been doing a great job with COVID-19, and I think this would shock a lot of people out there that know me, but I don't necessarily think it was such a bad thing. I see sport in this country to be a really vital part of our routine, and it is an outlet for people. And I think for a man who has been at the forefront of some horrific details and having to make some really big decisions, I think it's okay that he was able to take some time out and, like a lot of people, maybe, enjoy some sport. Now, if this was 10 years ago, and I just need to be clear about this, I wouldn't have agreed with it. But at the end of the day, this man has a telephone, and a telephone is a portable office like nothing that we would have seen in the 80s and 90s and in the noughties. He is there ready to take those calls.
It's not even about that, though, Ben. It's not about being able to get the information. It's about setting an example. You have Victoria in lockdown. People are being told to stay at home, and then you're seeing the Prime Minister, and where the Prime Minister goes, cameras go, and there he is parading around at a sporting match, and it's doesn't look good, especially coming off, and we saw those photos a little earlier of him in Hawaii during the bushfire crisis. He had gotten over that. That could have become a big election problem for him, and he
100%. But look, putting those two things together, had we not have seen that at the start of the year, would you have thought about this in this
Probably
instance?
not.
I don't necessarily think so. No, you wouldn't have. And at the end of the day, I really didn't side with Scott Morrison. I was very disappointed in him. I was expecting that he would basically be thrown out because of his poor leadership on handling bushfires being in Hawaii. But we've come a long way since then. And I also just want to be really careful about how much scrutiny we have to put on this man. Yes, he's the Prime Minister. Yes, he's running the country. But like anything that happens to any Australian, we don't have to show a fake face just to be able to represent stuff. And I also
that's true, but it's about perceptions, and especially coming off Hawaii. I think
you want to make some. I think. Sorry, I keep interrupting you, but I can't understand this. I'm finding it difficult to understand someone having to fake their emotions because it suits with a particular style.
It's not about having to fake the emotions. It's about saying Australia's second largest city, you have to go into lockdown, but I'm the Prime Minister and I'm swanning about. It's called leading by example. Yes, he's not in Victoria, but when you go to a public event, it's not a good look. And I'll move Hawaii out of it, but especially coming off Hawaii, where I think he got the backlash he deserved, and he was coming through that because I agree, he's done a fabulous job with COVID-19 and the way he's held press conferences, and his information started a bit wobbly, but he's found his stride. But this was a misstep, in my opinion.
No, I don't agree with you either, Rob, at all. I just think if you're suggesting that everyone who is in any kind of power, they must remain in their homes, lights off, can't leave, just because they're in a position of power, I just think that's just not right. I think that if he went to a football game in Victoria, I think that would be a bad look. But at the same time, you have to reward all of the people who did the right thing, all the states who did the right thing. I think Victoria's just unlucky, but that's a different story. But do you want to shut up shop until it's all gone? We need to see leadership where someone goes, we've done the right thing. I support my team. But I'm just wondering, Rob, and I'm going to go back to that question. If anyone's in a position of power, should they lead by example? So we're talking about policemen shouldn't go anywhere.
No, I'm talking about the Prime Minister of our country, the man we look to.
No. And we're looking to him for leadership, and he's going, thank you to everyone. He's out there because we need to start getting the country back on board. I just think it's kind of petty to go, he's the Prime Minister, so he can't be a person. I think he's learnt a lot from Hawaii. Again, like Ben, I can't believe I'm defending this man, but he's learnt a lot from Hawaii. He's learnt a lot from bushfires. And I just think we need to see him being a human as well. If he was a robot that, just... I mean, he speaks a lot of bullshit, but if he was just a robot and not a real person, we need to see our leader as a real person. And he wasn't doing anything wrong by going to New South
as a real person. I think this was stupid. I think it gave his detractors ammunition. It was just politically stupid.
When can he go out?
When the crisis is over.
You're right. No.
The crisis is over.
You know what?
When's that going to be?
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.